It might surprise you that I think that the Congress now is more pro-Israel than the one they replaced, that people who were not sympathetic lost in the last election, but we did have a small group of very extreme people who got elected, some who flirt with anti-Semitism or more overtly express hostility towards Israel and associate with anti-Semites, that the media is disproportionately focusing on, give them far out beyond their weight in the Congress, and they are going around the country and organizing and mobilizing. So it is a matter of great concern to us. But I can tell you, in my discussions with the leaders of the Democratic Party, key leaders from across the board, they are as worried about it as we are, that they don't want to see the Democratic Party described as a socialist party, pushing socialism, pushing extremism, rejecting BDS. In fact, Congress supports the anti-BDS legislation, both houses, Republicans and Democrats, overwhelmingly. And they support Israel in overwhelming numbers.
But this situation is without a precedent in the American Congress and especially in the Democratic Party.
There are precedents on both sides of having extremists, people in the Republican Party, Klan members, others. Robert Byrd was a very extreme member of Congress, and others who expressed hostility. And what I found in some of my meetings with some of the minority ranking members in the House is they're more worried about the impact that these people will have than we are. But even places like NYU and Columbia are hotbeds of anti-Israel and anti-Semitic activities. We had a Jewish student last week who was told that she couldn't take a course because other students felt threatened by a Zionist being in the class. NYU. On the Columbia campus, you can't wear in many places openly Jewish symbols, Magen David, other things, or T-shirts that are pro-Israel. So we, as a community, have to mobilize on behalf of the students, to go after the faculty, to go after the administrations, to mobilize donors, to get the communities involved. We are doing lawsuits against the universities, and for too long there's been an atmosphere, a culture of tolerance for anti-Israel and even anti-Jewish expression. And we have to say no more. We're not going to tolerate it anymore. There has to be zero tolerance for anti-Semitism.
Some people blame the Trump administration or the president himself.
There has been, it has been exacerbated in the last 2 years, but it wasn't caused by Trump. I think the exacerbation is these trends in society about the divisiveness, the polarization, which came out of that election, but the increase in anti-Semitism we've seen for quite a while, especially on the campuses. This is not of this year or last year or the last 5 years. It's been a steady progression. And what you asked is right. We don't want to face an emergency. But I will tell you that the situation today is urgent. When Brooklyn alone, in the last 2 months, there were 20 physical assaults against Jews. Most, I think, anti-Semitic incidents aren't even reported. And you know, there are many non-Jews who will stand with us, who stand very firmly, and the majority of Congress stands with us too. And the administration, by the way.
The Israeli elections.
I've heard about it.
Are you interested in the events related to the Israeli elections, to the primaries?
Personally, yes, because I know many of the players. The American Jewish community, it's too arcane. They don't understand it. The American public doesn't understand the list systems, the competition. They don't know the names. They don't understand the internal machinations between individuals, and the whole idea of coalition governments are not common to America. Europeans know it better, but Americans, it's not in our experience. They know Netanyahu, and remember, for many, he has been the prime minister for a good part of their lives, and you know, some of them may have heard of Golda or Ben-Gurion, but they wouldn't know most of the prime ministers of Israel. They don't know the presidents of the United States. Why would they know?
Do they recognize the name Benny Gantz?
No, they wouldn't know him. They will get to know him as he's more reported on in the press. But again, it's the elite. The vast majority of Americans are not engaged. They don't care about foreign affairs. There is a constituency for Israel, both Jewish and non-Jewish, who really care about Israel. And it's not insignificant numbers, but they're not into the politics. They care about Israel. They don't care about what Likud, Labor, Yehudi, anything. These are foreign and alien concepts to them.
Thank you, Mr. Honliin.
My pleasure.